Hi, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. I hope you're well. We're going to start and we're going to get going off. We're going to start something a little bit different. You've seen this screen before, but might as well just do it. I've done a check, so I'm connected to it. I have good battery life. I have good transmitter power. I have 4 days left on my sensor. So all in all, I'm all green, which means I'm set to go. Oops. At 1:43 in the afternoon, I'm fully calibrated. Blood sugar sits at 6.7, and I have 1.575 units of active insulin. So I'm situated. I'm okay. Have normal blood sugar. So all in all, it's looking pretty good. Sorry, itchy nose. I was getting itchy nose when I talked to you. Okay, so I was up a bit and then came down, and early in the morning, I went low again. So I don't know what's going on. Time in range is sitting at 94%. 6% is above. This is still higher, and hopefully this afternoon I can keep it from going high and we can get back to 100%. Not going to do anything crazy. I'm not going to give a correction if it doesn't warrant it. So we're all taking a look here. 94% in range means 94% of the time in the last 24 hours, I was in control. Average sugar is sitting at 7, which is a little bit higher than what I normally like, but it's still within acceptable ranges. Today, I want to talk to you about different diabetics. Not going to talk to you about different diabetes. I'm going to talk to you about different diabetics. So stay tuned. We'll be right back and we'll get going. So grab your cup of coffee, tea, whatever, and let's go. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Okay, we all know there's different types of diabetes. The three big ones are type 1, type 2, and gestational, which I've always thought should be type 3, but because a lot of their different characteristics and everything, type 3 should be gestational. And then we can start numbering if we have to after that. But those are the three major ones that we're all aware of. We're not going to discuss that. That's it for that. What we are going to discuss today is different types of diabetics. What I really don't like is where we're pigeonholed. And, well, you're a diabetic, you all have to follow this. For example, I had injury to my foot, and I had a large nail. I couldn't get down there to cut it. A nurse came by and said, "Oh, well, you'll have to go to a foot care nurse to get that taken care of. We're not allowed to touch a diabetic foot." Well, my pulse down there is fine. I've had a number of stub toes and it's healed. But again, we're all grouped together. Not all types of diabetics in type 1 category are exactly the same. I've had trouble controlling my lows, controlling my highs for many years now. But the new diabetic won't have those issues. A little side here, does that make me feel special? No, it makes me feel like a pain. I've had doctors say to me, well, you just got to start taking care of yourself. Your blood sugars are high. I don't know why they're so high. You are doing stuff totally wrong. I've had the same endo in kind of where I was in the hospital in 2014. He took care of me. He knows my case. I had a different endo. She knew my case. I had her for 20 years. I've had the same diabetic nurse. So being presented to a doctor and just being told, oh, you've got to start taking care of yourself. When I'm doing the best I can and I'm still going low at night. I went through a period of having severe lows and waking up on the carpeted floor of my room in my condo. And they had the little thing, this isn't it, around my neck. I would press it and get help. That's awesome. You don't get to criticize people unless you're in their shoes. A type 1 diabetic that I spoke to here, his favorite line is, don't tell me about being a diabetic unless you're a diabetic too. But again, we're all pigeonholed that all diabetics have to follow the exact same rules. And if you don't, well then, oh God, life will end. You'll lose an eye, you'll lose a leg. Now, there's this, what I'm saying, is true if you are a diabetic who's trying to control their blood sugars. Yet things don't always work well. Then there's other diabetics that don't really care and will end up in an emergency asking for help, but they don't care enough to treat. They'll go out drinking, they'll eat whatever they want, sometimes they'll miss insulin. If you're those type of diabetic, my description may not apply to you. If you are trying your best to get your blood sugars in line, you may fall into a category. You may do everything as per the diabetic associations, wherever you are, decide that that's the correct thing to do. You could be like me, who I'm trying to control. I get some days where I'm super at it, and other days I might as well just throw caution to the wind and just given up. But I don't give up. I'm heading for that elusive 100%. If I don't achieve it, it's not the end of the world. But you have to try. So going in, you're a type 1 diabetic. Oh, you'll follow this rule. Example of this. Last September, I went through a time where no matter how much insulin I gave in the morning, my blood sugar would go up over 33.3, and my alarm would go off and I'd be pumping it full of insulin, but it just kept going up and going up and going up. The doctor, I finally reached the point where I went into the hospital and I was put into the ICU of a nearby hospital, but I was put into the ICU. And while I was there, the person, or the doctor, the doctor brought me out of DKA, and they were ready to move me out of ICU into another room. They didn't tell me that they were moving me, they just did. And I went in there, and just before they moved, they found out I slipped back into DKA. And I did that twice more. And that's become my norm. If I go into DKA, I will come out of it, and then I have a very high chance of going back into it again. But it was, I don't know where I put it there. Oh, there it is. Oh no, your pump's broken, because you should be responding to our care. And they were going to start a big flap. They were going to put me on insulin, because that's what we do with all diabetics. We get them back onto needles and then they can go. And I tried to explain that needles and I don't work. My body won't accept the insulin, and it'll crash after, and we'll just constantly get into more and more situations like that. He had nothing, but I stood my ground, and I said, no, listen, I just have to let my body run its course, and then we'll start getting back in control, which we did. They transferred me out. I spent a couple of days back in that hospital before being transferred back here. So, not all diabetics fit into the same cubicle or the same peg hole. We are all individuals. Our diabetes is all different. We all have our own diabetes diagnosis stories. So this may be for anyone who has to deal with diabetics. Don't just assume that we're all the same, that we're all gonna respond to all diabetes care the same way. Majority of us may, but you may run into that person who responds a bit differently. Think about it, deal with it, and we're gonna call it a day. Have a great day, and we'll talk later. Bye now. My next vlog topic will be the next video that we're going to discuss on this channel is, does being on a CGM mean no more blood tests? Oh, thank God I hate it. We'll see how true that is. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 8 a.m. for the same fun and exciting topics. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld at gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld at gmail.com.